I've got a blind buy haul here, which I haven't done for ages. This is a bunch of tester bottles. The first three are from a UK web shop called The Fragrance Warehouse, and the other two are from Direct Cosmetics. So I'm going to get straight into it. Let's start with, we've got three from the same company, brand from the same range. This is from Victorinox. I think that's how you say it. So Victorinox. As you can see, just a simple white box. Now these were $9.99 for the 100ml bottles, which I thought was an absolute bargain. And I'm going to start with First Snow because this is the one that I've actually heard the most about. So it comes in this rather cool bottle with a little red bottom. So it doesn't look as yellow as this in real life. This is just reflecting my light here. This is more of a very slightly kind of cloudy grey colour, First Snow. I'm just going to spray this one out. So you might have seen Sebastian talking about this one. This is one of his kind of affordable hidden gems. And it gets compared to lots of perfumes. And this is an interesting one. So First Snow, you can see on the back, it's got a sticker that says tester, but these are really easy to take off. So First Snow, interesting notes on this. So this is top notes of eucalyptus and white tea, middle notes of vanilla and orange blossom, base notes of white musk and tonka bean. While I'm filming this, there are some tiny dogs screaming at each other, so sorry if you can hear that. This is a really interesting perfume. I am still trying to decide how I feel about this. I've seen people describe this as like a mentholated fresh green vanilla, that kind of thing. I don't think this smells like vanilla personally. I'm not getting vanilla from this. It's definitely sweet, but I'm not getting vanilla. I'm actually wearing this one today. I have to say, it doesn't last very long. This is pretty fleeting. It's really light. I think you'd have to really overspray this, at least this new bottle anyway. I think you'd have to really overspray it to get it to kind of waft around you. It's extremely intimate, but it's also kind of pretty. I get more tonka bean. I'm getting that kind of, not quite entirely powdery, but that slight powdery sweetness that you get from tonka, way more than I'm getting the vanilla. I'm definitely getting a musk. I can sense that white tea, but there's a lot of eucalyptus in this. So if you're someone who likes eucalyptus and you like sweet perfumes, I feel like you're really going to like this. If you like things like Contradiction from Calvin Klein, that one is a little bit more floral to me, maybe slightly more feminine. This is like super unisex to my nose. But this one, what it's making me think of really is Colette from Toka. And that's another one of those that gets compared to Byredo Gypsy Water. And I do think this is in that same kind of realm. But my memory of Gypsy Water is that it's not quite as powdery as Colette, and it's maybe a little bit more vanillic. Whereas Colette is super powdery to me, and another one that smells sweet but doesn't necessarily smell like vanilla, and there's like some greenness in there. So this is giving me that vibe, except this is a 100ml bottle for $9.99, so it's way more affordable. It's maybe, again, a little bit more unisex. And I can't quite work out how I feel about this. Funnily enough, the actual profile and the top votes for this is Satine from Lalique, and this does not have that kind of well, I mean, for me, I don't like that perfume because it just smells like pink pepper, nearly entirely like pink pepper. But underneath that pink pepper, there is this kind of powdery sweet scent, and I'm getting the same thing from here. It's definitely not as powdery as Satine, but because of that eucalyptus, it smells cold and crisp. But then it has this kind of slightly cozy, warm tonkery scent as well. It's really interesting. This is one that I'll hang on to. I'll see how I get on with it. I might see how this one develops and whether it gets a bit stronger because it is quite sweet. But for $9.99, really quite an impressive perfume and quite an interesting one. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting perfume, and like not interesting in a bad way, interesting in a good way. That's kind of cute as well. It's a nice one. So the next one, also $9.99, is Victorinox Morning Dew. Another lovely bottle. Again, it has the red base. This time, more of a kind of aqua coloured liquid, which is really cool. So I'm going to spray this one out onto a little paper strip. I have tried this on my skin as well. I've tried all of these on my skin. Morning Dew. Bright, fresh. This is supposed to be for women. It smells super unisex to me. Some people, I think, in the dry down would describe this as masculine because it does get quite kind of woody in the base. There's quite a prominent cedar when it dries down. So the notes here are top notes of water, citrus, pink pepper, mid notes of mountain air, edelweiss and white violet, base notes cedar, musk and amber. This is bright and fresh. It smells like a gym scent. If you like things like cool water from Dolce and Gabbana, like specifically cool water, you're really going to like this. If you like Eclat d'Arpège, you're probably going to like this. For me, this is totally redundant in my collection because it smells really quite similar, but with an even more woody dry down, to my beloved Jil Sander Sport Water for Women. So now that might be really good for you, because if you liked Sport Water for Women, which I don't think is in production anymore, then you definitely should try Morning Dew from Victorinox. It's really similar in the scent profile. I think it just smells a bit more unisex. I think it's maybe not got quite the... because it doesn't have that peach note that you get in Jil Sanders. So it's not quite got the same watery notes. And Jil Sander is like a tea perfume, so it's got this kind of... it's got a different style of watery notes. It's got that kind of aquatic feel you get from tea, rather than the aquatic feel you get from what they describe as watery notes. But it's really very similar in terms of the overall scent profile. So yeah, this is not one I need because I have Sport Water. I love Sport Water. I also have a little backup of that. It's one of my favourite summer perfumes. It's what I describe... I mean, I don't go to the gym, so it's not a gym scent for me. But on YouTube, when people say gym scent, this is the kind of thing that I think of. This is like fresh, clean, straight out of the shower, summer day, keeping cool. It's that kind of thing. Yeah, it's definitely got a more prominent cedar in the base, but apart from that, it's really very similar. So definitely I would recommend Morning Dew, because I think that this one is a really good alternative to something that I really love. So yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good perfume. Again, $9.99. Last up from the Victorinox range, the ones that I've tried anyway, and I think they've only got these three in this specific style of bottle. This is Forget Me Not EDT. I think these are all EDTs, aren't they? This one, this is a definite keeper for me. And funnily enough, like looking at the notes, I thought maybe this would be the one that I would like the least, but it's actually the one, in a way, that is my favourite. But that's mainly because it doesn't necessarily smell like anything else I've got. I've got one thing that I could say it's got crossovers with, but so it's got this cool kind of pale purple juice. Really cute. So Forget Me Not, I don't know what Forget Me Not smell like. I don't know that they have a scent, but it's pretty. It's definitely pretty. This to me is beautiful spring floral. It smells like you're walking down a street full of freshly bloomed spring flowers. It's really, really lovely. So this is bergamot and pink pepper in the top. Mid notes of Forget Me Not and hibiscus seed. Base notes cedar and angelica. So I like angelica. I like anything hibiscusy. I like bergamots. Whatever this Forget Me Not scent is supposed to be. In fact, I'm going to click on Fragrantica to see what it says. Fantasy note with transparent green, fresh nuances. Okay. Some people seem to be comparing this to things that have violet in. Personally, this isn't screaming violet at me, and I really like violet, but I feel like it has the same slightly fizzy sharpness that you get with violet, but there's also a sweet floral quality here. Maybe that's from the hibiscus. Yeah, people have compared it to Demeter Violet and the Penhaligon's Violetta. I really used to love Violetta, and I do not get Violetta from this because I just don't think it smells exactly like violet. It smells maybe like violet mixed with lots of other florals. So I imagine that part of that fantasy note for Forget Me Not is possibly a violet. Its top comparison is to Daisy Oh So Fresh by Marc Jacobs, which I have to say is not a perfume that I remember smelling before. I probably have. But looking at the notes, I can see how this might be very similar. So in the Daisy Oh So Fresh, they've got raspberry, pear and grapefruit green notes, violet, lychee, apple blossom, rose and jasmine, and then musk, Virginia cedar and plum in the base. So if I'm sniffing this while looking at those Daisy Oh So Fresh notes, I can imagine some raspberry and pear in here for sure. I can imagine a little bit of violet. Lychee maybe, but not screechy. I find lychee in perfume often to be very screechy. The thing that I'm really thinking yes to is the apple blossom and the violet. So I think probably this does have a bit of violet. It's probably got something blossomy in it, which is why it's giving me that kind of first, blossom of spring smell. And then you get a bit of greenness from the angelica and you're getting a decent dose of bergamot, but there is a sweetness here as well. It's really, really pretty. I really like this one. This, in a weird way, I think is the strongest out of all of them. When I've been trying them out, this is the one that I can really smell, making like a beautiful scent bubble around me. The closest thing I have to this also has green notes and raspberry and violet in it, among many other notes. And that is Ted Baker W. So if you know W, the new bottles are clear with a big red W on the front, and the old ones are like a pink juice rather than a clear juice, but they both smell very similar. The pink one's actually a bit more violetty, but it's in that same kind of realm in that it smells like maybe like a really nice, fresh, not screechy and not harsh shampoo-y kind of fruity floral. It's the kind of thing where I might smell someone and think they've just washed their hair with like herbal essences, or some delicious fruity shampoo. Fruity floral shampoo, yeah. But yeah, I don't really like shampoo-y perfumes when they actually have that kind of soapy, detergent-y scent in them. They make me feel a bit sick. This doesn't have that. It just is fresh and pretty and girly. The most feminine, I'd say, but still, to be honest, anyone could wear this. I think that this whole range is kind of unisex, so I really rate this range. If you can get this for a good price, I think I've seen this at Tesco's for like 50 quid, but even in like the discount shops that aren't tester bottles, you can get this for maybe 20 quid in other places if they've run out of this from the Fragrance Warehouse. But also, if you're in the US, Fragrance X, has these again for £10. So for a 100ml bottle, I think they're really good. And I'm definitely going to wear this spring. This is a lovely, lovely, bargainous, pretty floral. So the next two I've got, both also testers. These are from Direct Cosmetics, and I just saw them. One of them I was just really interested in because it has lavender in it, and I love lavender. And the other one I was interested in because it had an interesting kind of rose with a couple of gourmand notes. So this is a Miu Miu perfume, and this is called Eyes on Me. This is from their A la Mode collection, and I think on Direct Cosmetics you can get these 50ml bottles for, I think these were $14.99 or something in that range. So I've got two from this collection to test. I mean, I could have gone absolutely ham and I really would have fancied trying them all, but I think a few of them have been compared to other perfumes that I either already have something like. So one of them, I think it's called Player or something like that. That one I think just smells like Love Don't Be Shy, and most people have something like that in their collection already. And one of the other ones I was just looking at and thought it wasn't going to be for me. Not recommended to do blind buying. It can be a real waste of money, but it was fun. And these are really cute. Look how cute these little bottles are. Look at this. It's so cute. So, Eyes on Me. I'm going to read you the notes. I'm going to spray this out and we're going to have a chat about it. So, Miu Miu Eyes on Me from the A la Mode collection. So it's raspberry and macarons in the top, mid notes are rose and caramel, base notes benzoin. Now, technically, the only thing that was ever going to be a problem for me here, or could be a problem, is the rose. So I'm going to spray this out from this very cute bottle. And I have to say, I was very sad about this. I was let down. I was upset. It has the kind of aroma chemically smelling raspberry and rose that I just cannot deal with. That kind of, if you like Delina, you will be fine with this perfume. If, like me, you find Delina to be screechy and a bit painful, everyone always blames that on the lychee. And I do think sometimes lychee, as I've said, can be like quite screechy and quite acidic and sharp and nasty. But I smelled so many roseberry, I should call it that, raspberry and rose perfumes that have this head-splitting scent to them. Like, literally, this is a headache in a bottle. Considering it has macarons and caramel in it, and benzoin, which is something that normally comes across to me as almost like a gingerbready smell. This smells just a bit sharp, a bit poisonous. And I'm just not getting those sweet things coming through. I'm getting a totally underripe raspberry and a very screechy rose. Like, that's just what this smells like to me. But yeah, if you like, is it called Beyond Romance, the raspberry one from Ralph Lauren? And So Sweet from Marc Jacobs, and you like Delina, and you like things that smell like Delina, then you're not going to have an issue with this. You might quite like it. But for me personally, this is an absolute no-no. This is it just really smells so chemically to me. So no, I was not into Eyes on Me. That is not one that I enjoy. It's clearly got the modern aroma chemicals in that rub me up the wrong way. So that one won't be staying with me. So the other Miu Miu from the A La Mode range that I got is called Daring Darling. And you can see again, this is an eau de toilette and it's 50ml from Direct Cosmetics. This one is definitely more successful to me, but I'm still not going to keep it because it smells like something I've already got. Lovely cute bottle again with a lovely pale purple liquid, which I assume is because this is a lavender perfume. So I do like this one, but I'm planning to give this to my sister when I next see her. I feel like there's way more notes than are listed here, but what they tell you: top notes blackcurrant, middle notes lavender and rose, base notes musk. I'm going to spray this one out again so I can get those top notes and tell you how it starts smelling, because the dry down of this is what smells like something I already have, and also it smells like a perfume that my sister really likes. You definitely get lavender when you first spray this. Although it's in the mid note, it's very much top of the pyramid when you actually first spray it. You're getting some of that blackcurrant, but I feel like you're getting something much sharper and a bit kind of more bitter and citrusy. So yeah, I'd say there's maybe like bergamot or lemon or something along with the blackcurrant in the top of this, which is keeping it acidic and sharp. And then you've got that lavender, so it's got that kind of classic, normally male perfumey smell, that kind of slightly cologne-y lavender. Sorry guys, but if my voice is going funny, that last one that I tested, I haven't stopped coughing since I sprayed it out. So like I said, the Eyes on Me one, there's something in that really bothers me. But what happens when this is on my skin is that the more it dries down, the more it develops a sweetness, the musk comes through, the rose comes through. And it's not as screechy a rose as is in the other one. It's softer and it's mixed with that lavender, and then you get the blackcurrant increasingly gets a little bit more syrupy. And then once it's dried down, this really reminds me of In Love Again by Yves Saint Laurent. Now that perfume doesn't have lavender in it, but it definitely has a similar feel and a similar scent to this. And I think when the rose starts coming out and the blackcurrant gets syrupy and the musk comes out, that is when it's really starting to smell more and more like In Love Again. Now In Love Again is like, they don't list it on the modern version, but I can still smell it in there. It has a tomato leaf note in that, which gives this really beautiful, aromatic, interesting, slightly herbal smell. And so in this one, in Daring Darling, what you're getting is the lavender instead of that, but it's still giving me that similar feel. In Love Again really smells to me like it's got like blackcurrant, it's got rose, it's got musk, it's got mandarin orange. That one has grapes, so it has like this maybe slightly sweeter feel. But this definitely reminds me a lot. And that used to be my signature scent, so I have that perfume already. But the reason I want to give this one to my lovely sister is because it also smells to me a little bit like Citrus 08 by Kayali when it dries down. And if I look at the notes that are in Citrus 08, because like Citrus 08, I had a little bottle of it. I gave it to my sister because it does smell quite similar to In Love Again, in that it smells like a kind of citrusy but blackcurranty, musky rose scent. And looking at the notes for Kayali's Citrus 08, I feel like I can look at this and go, I know now what's in here. Because Daring Darling, you get the lavender in the top, you definitely do. It gets more and more chilled out as you move through. And then the notes from Citrus 08 are what this smells like. So pink grapefruit, blackcurrant, rose, musk, and rhubarb. And this totally smells like there's rhubarb in it. That's the interesting, unusual smell that's coming through. And I like rhubarb again. Like, I have another perfume that actually is definitely very similar to this, but a bit sharper and a bit greener, which is Hedonist Cassis from Victoria Minya. That one is like blackcurrant and rose, a very dry rose, and then a beautiful rhubarb note. It's in this same neck of the woods again. Like, because I like these kind of perfumes, you know, I kind of recognise the similarity between them all. But yeah, I mean, if you told me, if I looked at this and it said rhubarb, I'd be like, of course, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, so I think this one is lovely. I really like it. But like I said, I don't need to keep it because I have so many other perfumes that are in this same kind of, you know, neck of the woods. I also have a little miniature of Lost in the City from Miller Harris. That's like tea and rose and green notes. And that one's got rhubarb in as well. So I've got loads of perfumes that smell like this, so I don't need this. But because Citrus 08, I think it might have been discontinued, or you can only get like one certain size, or I think it's very difficult to find now. So I'm going to give this one to my sister because I think she'll really love the dry down, even if she doesn't like the lavender in the top. Yeah, it just leaves this slightly aromatic feel to it. It doesn't really smell like lavender once it dries down. It smells like blackcurrant, rose, rhubarb, grapefruit. That's what it smells like. It's really, really pretty. So this one is a winner. I think it's really nice. It's not staying with me, but I hope it will be loved by my sister whenever I next see her, and I can give this to her as a surprise. Hopefully she doesn't watch this video. But anyway, that is my blind buy haul. So my favourites by far are the Daring Darling from the Miu Miu range and the Forget Me Not from the Victorinox. So yeah, that's me done. Let me know if you have these down below, and thanks very much for watching. Bye guys.